invited this lovely couple over. Please introduce me.
Yes. So we have Jen, which I'm not supposed to call her Jen, but I'm gonna call her Jen because that's what Julius told me to call her Jen. And then we have Julius Scott.
So Jen and Julius, and you guys are a team.
Yes.
In more ways than one.
Yes, we are.
Tell me, in how many ways are you guys a team? You're married,
We are married.
and you're also a real estate team.
We are real estate agents, yes.
That's nice.
Wait,
and we're
wait. Happily married.
That's
Happily
right.
married.
That's the key right
Yeah.
there.
Hey, listen, this is 2022. If you're not happily married, you're divorced.
That's true.
We covered this in a previous podcast,
Right,
and we
yeah,
were
we
saying
did.
it's just like there's nothing wrong with divorce. We're all for divorce. Okay, and it's
Yes.
not. There's nothing wrong with that. So if you're happily married, you're married.
Yes, we're married and we've been together. We've known each other since 2001.
Yep.
We've started dating in 2006.
Oh wow.
And
oh,
we've
you
been
waited.
married since 2013. So we are happy.
I love that. I love that.
Love it.
And I hear that there's a hashtag that you guys created. Tell me it.
Yes. So you all can find us on Instagram with the Scott Team NJ or Genius.
Genius. I love that. Do you hashtag genius or genius team?
Genius.
And that's with the J, right? Because
Yes.
it's the J.
Yes.
Right.
When you guys were dating, were you guys like, oh, your name is Julius, my name is Jen, and then you're like, we should date? It was 5 years. It was actually 5 years. There's been less reasons
I
to
wish it was
date.
that easy.
Is it right?
There's less reasons to date.
It just happened to work out that way. But when we got married, we did create a hashtag, for our invitations that
Right.
said Genius with a J, and
Okay.
that's Jen and Julius put together.
Yeah.
That's
I love it.
amazing.
It's good
I love
stuff.
it.
Good
So,
stuff.
so tell me a little bit about the journey into real estate. Who started first?
So I actually got my license in 2010. And it was a little premature because I started working for the New York Knicks, and my schedule there was so crazy I actually couldn't do both.
What were you doing for them? The Knicks.
So I worked first I did inside sales. So I was selling
Tickets?
New York Liberty tickets, Rangers tickets, and Knicks tickets. After a year, it's like a boot camp. So if you don't make it through that year, you don't have a job at the end of the 12 months. So you have you have to prove yourself, and then you get hired on as actually full-time employee.
That's
So
cutthroat.
Wow. All or nothing. Right?
yeah, all or nothing. So
Right.
I left banking to take that risk to jump into sports, and it paid off because I ended up getting promoted into a client relationship management position, and then I ended up managing a $30 million portfolio for the New York Knicks, and it was my responsibility to retain all of that business that was in that book. So
The ticket business.
yes.
So corporate tickets.
Yes.
Because I'm thinking to myself, how are you finding? You're like calling people and being like, "Do you want to come to the game tonight?" I mean, it's a little bit more complicated than that, obviously.
Right.
Actually, let me ask you this question about the Knicks. You obviously did you go to all the games? Did you have like an inside you could get?
Yeah, I was
tickets?
pretty much at every single game. I mean, it was very rare that I missed a game. So we pretty much worked. It was a 44-game season. That's three preseason games and then the 41 regular season games.
Do you still have an inside scoop? I mean, come on, inquiring minds want to know.
I do. I'm fortunate that some of my clients still appreciated what I did for them when I was working there. So, on occasion, I'll get a call that, hey, I have extra tickets and I'll be able to go to a game. But as far as like inside scoop on like trades and stuff like that,
No, I just want the tickets.
It's all about the tickets.
But yeah, like I still have contacts. Like
That's
so, if
awesome.
somebody needed tickets, I could make a phone call to, try to help you out.
So let me ask you a question. You mentioned the Knicks. Which timeline, without giving our age, were they good or bad or they were moderate Knicks?
So
That's
You're
important.
either a fan or you're not
It's
a fan,
it's
though.
not
I
a
mean,
fan.
come on, it doesn't
So when I
matter.
hear this,
So the funny thing is, when I first started,
right.
we just traded for Carmelo Anthony. So
Okay.
when I joined the organization, Carmelo was just on the team. The Knicks went to the playoffs that year.
Right, so that was a good year.
And then when I got promoted into my new role, that was the year we won 54 games. So we were in the playoffs again, and
Okay.
we made it to the second round in the playoffs.
Right.
And then after that, we pretty much didn't make the playoffs for the rest of my career at Madison Square Garden. I was
And
there
then
for
you
8
left. You were like, "That's it. I'm done. I'm out of here, guys. Forget it. There's
Had
way
nothing to do
better."
with the Knicks. Had nothing to do with the
Yeah,
Knicks.
so I think I went to, in my 8.5 years there, we made the playoffs twice.
Okay.
So
Hey,
Not
I'll
that there's
take
anything
it.
wrong with that. Sorry, Knicks.
Or defy
Sorry, fans.
anything, yeah, you know.
So wait, so what about you, Jen?
So I was an educator for 15 years.
Early education, right?
I did early
Little kids.
education. Yep.
Lots
I
of
did-
patience.
Yes. So they say, but yes, I had a lot of patience. I still have a lot of patience. I taught mainly pre-K, but I taught up to 3rd grade.
Yeah.
And I did every grade but kindergarten, not because I don't love them, just because I didn't have the opportunity to. So
Yeah. And so wait a minute. So that's an interesting thing because sales I can understand because sales is a really natural way into real estate, right? Because it's all about selling the house and selling. But education is an interesting path because it's a different skill set. How do you think it translates?
Yeah, I mean, I think with a lot of our clients, they've never bought a house before, right? So there are naturally just questions and anxieties that they have, and being able to kind of hold their hand and answer their questions and be patient with them. Because I know when we were buying a house, we had a lot of questions, and sometimes you ask the same question multiple times. You think maybe I didn't ask it appropriately or
You're looking
clearly
for the
enough.
answer.
You're looking
You'd
for the
like a
answer that
different
you
answer.
want, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes that just really takes a lot of patience on the receiver side to say, like, okay, I know where you've been. I understand what you're feeling. Like, here, like, this is the information you need. Like, feel free to reach out to me whenever you need. Like, I'm here to guide you.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, you probably find that in your business too, right, Jimmy? Like,
All
there's a
the
lot of people are
Yeah.
asking the same question. They're like, so what's the rate? And then they don't like the number. So like, what's the rate? And they keep asking to see if
Right.
there's another number coming, right? And or I mean, that's a pretty simplified answer about that. But I mean, it's true because people are always looking for something that makes them feel better.
yeah.
The same with insurance too, right?
Or
Sometimes,
happy.
right? They're saying, "Why do I need flood insurance?"
Yeah.
Have you
Do
not
I
checked
need
out
it?
Mother Nature? You know,
Do I need it? Do you think I need it? Yes,
Right.
you do. Do you think I need it? We all do.
right?
Do you think I need it? So it's like that.
It's
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
ultimately, it's the biggest purchase that anybody's
asset.
going to make in their lives, right?
It's their
So-
biggest asset. We say it all the
is.
time.
We say it
It's
all
their
the time,
biggest
right.
asset. So it's like it's scary.
Yeah, and I think everybody's main concern is how can I keep as much money in my pocket as possible while getting the house of my dreams, right? But not losing my shirt.
Correct.
You know, so I think at the heart of it all, that's where folks' concerns lie, and you know.
Do you guys work together with all of your clients, or is it like you have your own and then you have your own, or is it like is there like a heavy and a?
So we work with all of our clients together.
Okay.
But there are certain personalities that fit better for me, that I'll handle, and I'll be more on hands with than she is, and vice versa. It just depends on the personality of the client because she's a lot more patient than I am with certain personalities.
Right.
And then certain personalities can be very direct and have, they're just like strong-willed. That's typically the client that I will be more hands-on with because I'm I'm used to that from working with the New York Knicks. I've dealt with a lot of CEOs and SVPs, people that aren't used to hearing no. So there's a dance that you have to do with that type of personality that's been in a leadership for a long time in their career, and so guiding them through the process, that usually falls on my hands with that type of personality. Those type A,
Right.
go-getter type of personalities.
Do you have like a tip for somebody? What's your like number one or maybe two tips for when you're dealing with somebody who has that difficult personality who doesn't like to hear no? Is there something that you do? I mean, other than just telling them what is the truth, that you can't really do that, right? Because it's like hitting a problem. You know, Julius, give me 2 tips that you have for dealing with those difficult personalities.
So I don't know if I have 2 tips. I just try to listen to what they're telling me, and what I try to figure out is, are they analytical? Are they feelers? I try to understand that mindset, and then I let them do all the talking, and then I give them the information the way they need to receive it. So if somebody's very data driven, then I'm just going to give them all the numbers.
Right.
And ultimately what happens is I'm still steering it, but they feel like they're making the decision.
Okay, gotcha.
I think that's important the way you said that, right? Because sometimes, as professionals we are, the most important thing is listening. Because, someone or they feel like they know what they're talking about. And that's all right, right? Because of the information that they're getting from many different sources, right? But it's kind of cool to see them come in feeling confident what they're talking about, and then we're stepping in and we're saying, that kind of makes sense, but this is how we should do it, right? Because again, we're helping you make sure we execute what's right, what you work so hard for, right? So I kind of like the fact that you're saying you let them go through the process, and then as you listen, you pick and choose where you can add your value so you can make them feel comfortable, right? Because once you turn clients off, it just, everything goes off, right? They don't feel like you're servicing them, you're not giving them the attention they need, or for whatever reason, they just don't feel comfortable. So it's always important just to hear them and then counter them through their needs. And we do that so well. That's what I love the way you said it, like personalities, how it
They're
fits, how
important.
how important it is to.
You know, it brings me to the teacher in you too, because the bottom line is, even when you talk about children, right, they really want to be heard, right? From a young age, they just need to be heard, and they need to feel like they're validated and they're important. And I think that particular need psychologically goes through especially when you're buying something so big like an asset, because your fear all comes back. When we're kids, we're so scared, right? And so the process can be fraught with a lot of stress that way. It's the same kind of theme as you dealt with when you were a child and when you were a teacher. So are there any people that you don't like to deal with? Well, not like to, but that you probably are not as suited to deal with, that you are more suited to deal with? I mean, because it feels like I can see where you can apply your teacher background to pretty much everybody.
You know what's interesting? You can't overgeneralize either, right? Because that same CEO who might need more of the data and just to get it shot straight, right? Has moments of insecurities where they need somebody to just kind of say like, hey, what you're feeling is normal. It's going to be okay.
Right.
This is what we're going to see in the next few steps. And if you have any questions about this, like, here we are, like, we're here for you, right? It also depends, like, we have worked a lot with couples. We work with everybody, but we have worked with a lot of couples, and one person may need how he deals with things, and the other person might need how I deal with things, right? So the same person could need two different things at two different times, and two people could need two different things, right?
Yes,
So,
and it's not even, I don't even think it's a gender thing, right? Because
No,
there's
it's
plenty
not.
of women who are very
It's not.
analytical and just need the checklist and
Right.
everything like that.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of men that need to be handheld and be told, it's okay, don't worry,
Absolutely.
we're going to get through this.
absolutely.
Yeah,
So-
there's a lot of times when I'm in that process too with somebody who's buying a house in the insurance part, and they're just kind of like, it's so nerve-wracking, I don't know what's happening, and there's a lot of like, it's okay, this is the easiest part.
Yeah.
A lot of that reassurance, I think, comes from when you're a child.
It does.
And then we all need it again still, and I think a lot of us forget that, the person you're dealing with needs that.
You want to feel secure,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
And you don't, especially if you're buying a home, right? You don't want to feel like, oh, it's my spouse who knows all of the business of what's going on. Like, you want to feel like you understand what's going on, vice versa. So,
We're not in the 1950s anymore,
No.
folks. Everybody has to be informed,
Yep,
right?
if your name's on the paperwork, you need to
Yeah.
know what's going on too, right? So I tell people all the time, like, if you've ever seen, especially like younger children, right?
Right.
When they want to know something, they'll ask you, but why? Why? But why? And how? And they'll keep asking you that. And if you don't satisfy their curiosity, they're going to continue asking that question. The minute you satisfy their curiosity and actually answer the question that they're asking you, that stops, right? And
Just like
I
adults.
see the same thing in adults. It translates into adults as
absolutely.
well.
Or else you redirect them, right?
Right.
Or else you redirect them.
You mentioned,
Send them
it's,
somewhere
it's,
else.
it's interesting because you mentioned couple. During these past couple of months, because of where home prices are, have you been seeing couples buy homes as a single person? I remember like 10, 6, 8 years ago, it'd be like, I'm buying my own home, I don't need anybody, such and such. Like that.
Yes, that's a good question, because when we first started
Right.
working, leading up into the pandemic, we actually were selling homes to a lot of single women.
Right.
And then as we entered into the pandemic and these prices start to soar, that kind of dropped out that person who's single trying to find a house. And so most of our clients moving through the pandemic were all couples. Like, it makes sense because you need two incomes to afford these escalating prices.
Correct.
Interesting,
Okay, that's
okay.
interesting. Yeah, because when
Yeah.
I'm talking, I've seen that myself, right? Going through the process, having these consultations, and I'm like, couples are purchasing the mortgage, and I'm like, look, We just want to make sure you're both on the phone or both on the Zoom call or both at the office so we can go over the numbers, right? Because I don't want it to be assumed that he or she knows it, but they didn't share that information with the other person. So we try to do it ongoingly where I'm giving you enough information on both sides so they both understand what the numbers are.
Right.
And especially, I'm saying couple, but it could be any two people. It could be, a parent and a child buying a house together, right?
Right, correct.
One person could come to the conversation with their perspective and their questions, and the other person can add a completely different set of perspectives and questioning, right?
Right.
That both of those are needed to help the other understand the nuances of what's going on. So,
Yeah, no, totally. Actually, and I also kind of want to point out the fact that there's the cultural stuff too, right? I mean, you guys have interesting backgrounds. Where are you from?
Yes. So I'm born and born and raised in New Jersey.
Both of you guys are, right? You're
Yes.
both
Yeah.
New Jerseyans.
Yes.
Because I'm from Florida, so I know I'm like, and I live in New Jersey, and I love New Jersey, so I love to see. Because I'm not going to ever move back to Florida, so you were both born and raised in New
Yes.
Jersey
Yes.
and you stayed. So that's
Yes. The only time I left was for college. I went to the University of Delaware. But my father, both of my parents are immigrants. So
cool. Yep, mine too.
my father was Bangladeshi and my mother is Haitian. So I was raised with a lot of like old school, old world values.
Yeah, multicultural household.
Yes,
Yeah.
lots of languages.
Uh-huh.
Between my parents, they spoke 5 languages.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Which ones?
So my mother and father spoke English. My mother speaks French, Haitian Creole. My father spoke Arabic and Bengali.
Oh, Arabic too.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
And fun fact, I went to a Catholic school that no longer exists in Linden, and it actually taught us Polish once a week.
You're kidding. That's
So,
amazing.
Yeah.
I love that.
And then I started learning Spanish.
Of course, yeah.
When I was in like 8th grade, I ended up like minoring in it. I'm fluent in Spanish.
That's helpful
And-
in real estate too.
Yeah. I've worked in schools that spoke Portuguese, so like I love language. I love culture.
Yeah.
It's
Very.
That's
It's
so niche about you. I mean, clearly we could put Jen anywhere; she'll be all right. Right?
Yeah, nobody
In
ever
America,
knows,
right? And
like-
nobody knows. We're like, who is she? But like, it's like almost no, not spy, but
Right.
kind of like. What did you just say? You
Yes,
know I know that language,
exactly.
right? I'm
Don't
pretty
talk
sure
about
the
me.
barbecue. She's like, yo, he said that. Yo, what did you just say? I can only imagine how that goes down.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing about that too is that when you grow up in a multicultural household, like you and I both did, like it actually does give you a background and understanding of where somebody's mindset is, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's really important
Right.
when you're talking about
Yeah.
something as big as the biggest asset that somebody will ever buy, usually,
Yes.
unless we're talking about yachts and other. That's a whole other audience, but usually 99% of us. And so it's nice to be able to kind of connect with that and understand where somebody is coming from,
Yeah.
right? And you are not. Your parents were born in the States.
Yeah, my father was born in Virginia, and my mom was born in the Bronx, New York.
The Bronx.
So-
I love
yeah,
it.
so, and I'm from New Jersey. Lived here my
Nice.
entire life. I never left, and I graduated from Montclair State University. So I'm New Jersey all the way through.
Yeah, in your heart, right? You're in New Jersey. Can you do the New Jersey? I guess there's a song, right? I don't know what it is,
yeah,
but I'm just
hip-hop
curious if you know what
parade.
it is. do you know like any New Jersey trivia? Like, what don't we know about New Jersey that we should know?
So you can't wear shorts. There's a law that says you can't wear shorts on Bloomfield Avenue.
You are kidding me.
Yeah.
For real?
Wow.
And it's against the law to slurp your soup in New Jersey.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't know
You
that.
guys,
Yeah.
we have to tell everybody this. I mean, I've been in plenty of restaurants in New Jersey, and they are all slurping their soup.
Especially
Yes.
Auntie Mama.
And that's ramen. I mean, you're supposed to slurp when it's
Right.
ramen, but
Yeah,
if you're in
ramen.
Bloomfield or in New Jersey, just don't tell anybody. We won't tell anybody.
Right.
That's an interesting
Yeah.
law. That's really cool. So wait, is your family still here in New Jersey?
Yeah, so my mom, my dad still live in New Jersey. Most of my family, we're actually the only ones in New Jersey. So most of my family's either out in Pittsburgh, still have some family in Long Island, a ton of family in Tennessee, North Carolina, and Detroit.
Nice. What about you, Jen? Where's all your family?
My mother and 2 brothers live in New Jersey. My father's family is in Brooklyn. And then I have a lot of family in Montreal. I have a lot of family in Florida. Some folks in Philly, some in New York. So
Nice.
Yeah.
So Montreal is one of my favorite places.
Yes.
Do you go up there a lot?
we haven't recently, but I used to spend summers there as a child. So yeah.
I was there for the first time a couple years ago in the summertime with another family, and we just loved it. It's so European.
It's beautiful. It's clean. Folks
Yes.
are nice.
And back then, the dollar had a different place.
Yes.
It
Right,
did,
because
it
it
did.
was through the Haitian community. It would always get like sugar, flour, rice. You could go to Montreal, get it, and come down to New York, New Jersey, and have family dinners. And
Listen.
like that. Yeah. So I remember those
So
days.
the last time we were there, her aunt sent us back with a big bag of rice
Yeah.
to give to her mom.
Right. Right.
Wait, I
So-
don't understand. Explain the rice thing. This I don't understand.
Well, because where the currency was back in the days, right? I mean, currency is different now versus CAD versus the USD. But during the 80s, when a lot of Haitians immigrated to the States and some immigrated to Montreal, and there were a lot of going back and forth. That's going back to like the little canisters that used to make the
I
food
see. Okay.
with the rice
Got
and
it.
things, and we'll be
The
carrying
tippins, yeah.
the tip pins and all that stuff. So back then, he had a lot of family in Montreal, so the currency was different. So we were able to buy more in Montreal and come down to the States with it. And now we have the Patriot. There's so many different nuances now.
It's different now.
It's
Okay.
different
So
to
back
get
in
to
the 80s,
border.
you
Back
guys
in the-
remember
back
doing
in
that.
the 80s, yeah, we did
Yeah.
that. Well, at
Cool.
least in my time. I'm pretty sure it happened before that, but I remember during the early 80s, this
Yeah.
was happening.
So
actually
now
really cool.
they're taxed so high. I think
Right.
they have like 14% sales tax. So a lot of them will come here to shop and then bring it back.
Bring it
you
back,
know,
right.
but not for nothing, and don't tell anybody. I hope this stays between us. When we go to Montreal now, I don't like to tell the older folks that we're going, because if not, they're gonna send us with a car full of clothes and just things they've shopped for, and
To bring back to family.
Yeah, it makes traveling a
You
little
guys
bit heavier.
don't tell anybody,
Don't tell
okay?
anybody.
On the show. Just don't tell anybody when she goes.
So yeah.
I love that. That's amazing. Oh, these are really, really good stories. So where can everybody find you on like Instagram and all that? Like how do they find you?
So you can find us at Realtor Jen Scott or at JRSIII, because Julius is the third. That's on Instagram. We can also be found on Facebook, the Scott Team NJ. We also have a website called www.thescottteamnj.com.
I was kind of hoping you were going to say genius.com.
Well, you'll see the genius sprinkled
Right.
throughout.
I'm gonna look for that.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
I was asking you earlier because Jimmy and I love talking about food, but I had heard you guys have a secret favorite restaurant in Bloomfield, but it's no longer a secret because we are on the channel.
Yes.
The only thing people don't have to talk about is when you're going to Montreal. But what about this restaurant?
So it's Cafe Maubert. It's on Broad Street
Broad Street, we know that.
in Bloomfield.
What do they serve?
It's Jamaican cuisine.
Okay. Because you have a Jamaican background, right?
Yeah, so my grandfather is from St. Catherine, Jamaica. And so I grew up eating Jamaican food, and so that's one of our favorite places to go. We go so much now that the owner, Patrick, he just knows what our order is.
And what is it? Tell
So I normally get curry goat with rice and cabbage. And
So I do a little remix.
Remix.
So I do brown stew chicken
Oh, yeah.
inside a roti skin,
Oh,
and it is phenomenal.
inside a
Phenomenal.
roti?
Yeah,
skin?
because I love
Yeah,
roti.
roti's nice.
Oh, they put it
So-
inside the thing and then they roll it for you? Is that
Yeah.
like a burrito?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, that's what it looks like, yeah.
With rice in it?
So I don't get the rice.
So just the
Yeah,
chicken and the
so
sauce?
it's the chicken, the sauce. There's potatoes, carrots, all
God, they're
inside. It's delicious.
It's a lot of starch.
yes.
Well, so the way I see it is the roti skin cuts down on the starch a little bit, but
That's all in your mind.
Wait, why? I don't understand why it cuts down. Isn't it? It's made of starch, no?
it is.
It is, but that's why I said it's
Oh.
all in her mind right there.
Oh, I was like, oh, it's just something that I don't know.
It's
so
all
that's
in our
going
mind
on.
right there.
I do that.
Yeah.
All right.
And it's kind of what's cool about this restaurant and the food. It's not the basic pasta dish or
Pasta?
rice dish.
That's not Jamaican.
No, I'm talking about
Oh.
when we get the food here.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
either
yeah.
pizza, pasta, or Chinese food, right? So sometimes going outside the box.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we've eaten at some Haitian
Oh, yeah,
restaurants too,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
So there's been some good stuff.
Yeah.
There's a really delicious Haitian restaurant in Montclair.
We've been there.
We've been there.
Oh.
Wait, you say it.
You say it.
Savia Creole.
Yes.
Yes, I remember.
It is.
Ron,
Ron.
right?
Ooh.
Ron,
Yeah,
the
Ron,
owner,
Ron.
Ron,
Yes.
is the nicest
Yes.
guy, and I love the inside. It's like this beautiful space with this gorgeous, colorful, vibrant art on the wall.
The art
And when
is
I went in there, I was like, oh
phenomenal.
my god, this is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they
so-
recently expanded during the pandemic. So the first,
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
When we were there, Ron was telling us how he expanded it, right? Because when we were
Yeah.
filming, we caught, like, when we came in, that was that part. And then they bumped out the other side to the left of you.
Yeah.
That's when you started seeing the art. And then for us, we were eating there and talking about.
Oh, they
the
made it
restaurant.
bigger?
They made it bigger. No, it was, well.
Oh, that's the bump
part
out
where
what
we
we
were
saw.
eating.
Okay.
That was the part that was.
Cynthia Lubin took us there.
Yeah.
okay, yep,
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. It was amazing.
Yeah.
yeah. So
And if you go there in the middle of the day and you take out, they give you more rice.
That's the jet, right? That's the jet.
Okay, we're gonna do takeout. Okay, we're gonna do that. All right, good. Okay, well, thank you guys for
Thank
spending some
you.
time with us.
Thank
That's super
you.
fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Thanks, I love it. Thank you.
thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.